glass tube CO2s, like the one in your ohm tech back there, are continuous wave. The RF tubes in CO2 Galvo lasers, fiber lasers, and UV lasers are pulsed. So that means that they're pulsing, and that's why you set a frequency on a fiber laser, but you don't set a frequency on a continuous wave like your CO2, because there is no frequency. The frequency is literally the frequency of the pulse. How frequently is that pulse firing during operation? That's what you're setting. Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to the Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast. If you're looking to, what the Jimmy? What the was that?
Was what?
Welcome to the Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast if you are looking to grow or scale your laser business. It's Kyle, me, and Jimmy today. We're hanging out. We're here to answer your questions and provide support. We don't have a guest lined up or anything today, but we still wanted to come on air and hang out. So we're here. If you guys have any questions, in the meantime, I am going to go pull my giant monster pile of merch out of the closet because it all finally came and I really want to show it off. So I'm going to go get it.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys and girls.
We got
Utah in the house.
We got Snaff. We got Danny. That mom with the laser, hey, Emily.
Yo, look at this.
Mr. Postman.
All right, so we'll start with the t-shirts. So I got the wavelength t-shirt. I got the plain Jane black laser everything, and this is my Cloud Ray t-shirt. I keep it in the same pile, but not actually merch. This is actually pretty rare. This is the only Laser Everything t-shirt that was printed with the white Laser Everything and the yellow logo. All of the new ones are yellow and yellow. I want to put this design back up, but it's not up right now. So white and yellow.
So what you're telling me is
I like that.
Limited release collectible. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We've got the vintage sports tee right there. Laser Everything, super classic.
Yeah.
The yellow snack shirt with the blueprint. Lasered ringer tee. Burn to learn. Yep, burn to learn. Baseball 3/4 sleeve. And then I have the inverted 3/4 sleeve with the Laser Everything print, which this is my favorite shirt, I think. I really, really like this one. Long sleeve, blue print, white snack shirt. Charcoal gray, Laser Everything classic, long sleeve. Lasered color block. That's a hoodie. We're into hoodies now. Print, blue snack. I bought another active capture shirt. Then we've got the contrast hoodie, black and gray with the burn to learn in white print, and the fleece zip up with lasered on the back.
Miranda says Alex has a problem.
Dude, I like them. They're like nice. And I got my white, my like plain Jane white. This is just a sweater. This is the only sweater that I got. I think it's the only sweater on the shop, but it's just a sweater. But it looks pretty chill. Oh, and I got more hats too. So I got my lasered hat.
You ain't got no funky donkey hat in there.
I got the Laser Everything hat that you guys have already seen. And then this one is Burn to Learn right there, which I guess I can just pop on like that. Headphones fit a little better that way anyway. So yeah, I have enough merch to last like a lifetime over here.
Plus what you're wearing now.
Yeah, what I really want to do is like an unboxing and actually show them like on so that people can see what they look like. But they're dope, dude. I think they're pretty sweet. So
that's good quality too.
Yeah, they're pretty good. The prints have been a little hit and miss, like the print quality. Like Kyle's is. Show them yours, Kyle.
Mine is it
looks like it actually kind of evened out a little bit, but
a little bit.
Just
so this side's this side's a little lower.
Your boobs.
Yeah,
you're playing with your boobs.
My boobs are down here off the screen. Come on now, I'm fat. So
we're all fat, dude.
This side's a little lower than this side.
Yeah, and it's got kind of like
it's got like a bow to it.
Like mine's, I mean, I guess mine's a little bit wider at the bottom, but not really. Like that's how it's supposed to look.
You can tell mine was like grabbed by the hoodie pouch at the bottom and pulled down and stretched before they ran the print.
Yeah, man, I just don't know why they would do that. So anyway, so the prints can be a little hit and miss. Like I got a hoodie for Felix and I got a onesie for Coraline, and both of those were a little stretched too. But all around, I mean, for having ordered like $400 worth of merch, I threw out a bunch of clothes too, because the last time I bought clothes for myself was like 2019 or 2018, like right before we moved out to New York. So all of my clothes had like holes in them and they're all worn or like too small because I'm getting fat now too. So like seriously, dude, like I used to wear small and it was like a little baggy on me. Like I used to be like, oh man, like I have to go shop in the kids section of Target or whatever. And now I'm like wearing like a large comfortably from the merch store, which is like a medium from most places, but still that's like I've gone up like 3 sizes, which is crazy. So anyway, nothing fits. My pants still don't fit. The button in my jeans is digging into my gut right now and it is pretty uncomfortable. So I need new jeans too, but I splurged because I haven't gotten new clothes in a long time. And I figured if I'm going to get clothes, I might as well get the merch. Cause then, no matter what day it is, if I need to hop on a live stream or something, I've got it on. I'm just always wearing it. So
Jay has a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Jay has a quick question. I'd like to upgrade my light burn. Do you know how many lasers light burned will operate off one computer?
As many instances of light burn as your computer can handle running.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just keep opening new instances over and over and over. We actually have an episode on the light burn for Galvo crash course on how to do that. But you really don't need an episode on the crash course to tell you how to do it. Just right click light burn while it's running down in your taskbar and click the logo again and it'll just open a new instance. It's harder on Mac. Macs are pretty difficult to run multiple instances. You need to use the terminal. It's best to use like an online guide because there's like code you have to paste into the terminal and it's annoying. So but yeah,
shortcut on that too. If you have light burn running and you have a mouse, because you're a mouse, if you center click on the mouse wheel, it'll open up another instance too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
In Mac?
No, on Windows.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, that would save people a lot of time.
I'm a PC guy. I haven't used a Mac in like 15 years.
I've never touched a Mac in my life. Sammy's here. What's up, Sammy? Jack says he can't wait to see me in high heels during my fashion show. I'll throw a pair on for you. What should I make a new tier on the LMA, the high heel tier? It's $200 a month.
No crickets tonight. They're all sleeping, thank God.
It probably got pretty cold up there anyway. They're probably
it's cold. It's cold. There's supposed to be a frost tonight. It's going to be a frost already.
Oh my gosh.
Gil's got a question. Hello guys. Thanks for all your instructions. I would like to know how can I make it like bold with the laser, the fiber laser, like bold text? Is that what you mean? Because there's a few different ways you can go about it. Like if you're writing your text in EasyCAD, there's a character window you can go into to bold the text. But I would really recommend doing it in like an outside vector editing program like Illustrator or Affinity Designer or Inkscape, because then you can just bold the text in there and export it ready to go. We cover a lot of that in all of our artwork tutorials. So if you go to the main channel and you go to playlists, and scroll, because we don't add to it very often, so it's probably going to be at the bottom on like the last page, but you'll see one called Artwork Tutorials, and we have intros for Illustrator, Inkscape, and Affinity Designer, and we go over how to modify and edit text and export it for EasyCAD and Lightburn. So that'll get you there. Hopefully that's what you're asking, if I have that right. TMB Framing or TMB Farming is asking, what is a pulse fiber laser? There's two kinds of lasers, pulsed and continuous wave. Continuous wave means that the beam just fires and it never turns off until the computer tells it to turn off. So it's literally just like constantly blasting whatever it's blasting. Those tend to be weaker than pulsed lasers. Pulsed lasers fire and then turn off and fire and turn off over and over and over again, like a strobe light while they're firing. And they tend to be a little stronger because what's happening is when the laser is turning off, it's actually charging up for the next pulse of power. So you get harder hits, but you get it in pulses instead of one continuous beam.
Which is like a CO2, right?
Glass tube CO2s, like the one in your ohm tech back there, are continuous wave. So they just fire and then they turn off. The RF tubes in CO2 Galvo lasers, fiber lasers, and UV lasers are pulsed. So that means that they're pulsing, and that's why you set a frequency on a fiber laser, but you don't set a frequency on a continuous wave like your CO2, because there is no frequency. The frequency is literally the frequency of the pulse. How frequently is that pulse firing during operation? That's what you're setting. So when you set your frequency to 30 kilohertz, that laser is going to pulse 30,000 times a second while it's running. So that's what a pulsed laser is. And anybody using any kind of Galvo laser probably has a pulsed laser, unless you have some kind of special laser marking machine like a laser welder, or the fiber cleaners. Yep, are typically continuous wave lasers. So that's the difference. But marking with Galvos is typically pulsed.
Shogun wants to know how is the support for the Sfx lasers?
It's good. Vanus is really responsive. His boss, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. He's like the sales manager. Is really responsive. I didn't really have anything go wrong with my Sfx, so I couldn't like really challenge their support while I had it. But you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like no problems is good, but I didn't have anything break where I needed to ask for help.
You can't put them to the test, yeah.
Yeah, but every time that I reached out to them, they always replied right away, which is something that I cannot say for a lot of laser vendors. Even when we're trying to help them make money, they'll go like weeks without responding. And that was never a problem with Sfx. So if that is any indication as to like their support, then I would say it's good. But you know, again, it's kind of hard to test on that because we didn't have anything go wrong. But they're really nice guys. And I had the Sfx for a long time, much longer than we usually have lasers for before publishing reviews. So we had the chance to have a lot of conversations during that time.
January, right?
I think. January. And they've been very consistently communicative with me. So I'm feeling good about it. Jay
wants to know when the seller accounts will be activated. He wants to sell his stainless steel blanks.
I know. It's coming. So right now, Amanda, our new web developer, is searching for a little bit of outside talent that specializes in the software we're using for the back end of the marketplace, because we're having a couple just like technical hurdles that we are not quite savvy enough to get over ourselves. So we need like outside consultants essentially to come in, review the code, and fix those things. That way, when you guys make sales, you actually get your money. Because a lot of those issues right now are revolving around the payout system. So we just want to make sure that we are 100% absolutely sure that everything works perfectly before we open the store. So that's where that's at. We have a lot of good companies lined up. Amanda's sifting through them literally probably right now as we're speaking. And she's been working very, very hard to get the marketplace wrapped up. It's not on the back burner. I stress over it every single day. I'm working on it every single day with Amanda, and it's basically nonstop. So it's at the very top of my priority list because I'd really like it to launch for the holiday season this year. So we're actively working on it, and I promise it's coming soon.
Sona Biker, he's super new to the channel, and he wants to know the name of the channel. Thanks.
The main channel is just Laser Everything. You can go to youtube.com/Laser Everything. We also have links to everything on the channel over at lasereverything.net, which is kind of our hub for all of the content, including the podcast, buying guide, the Laser Master Academy, and all of the other services and information that we offer. So that's a good place to start as well.
Sam, okay, what are you going to do with software tools for batching, optimizing PDFs before importing it to Lightroom? I'm currently using View and Adobe Acrobat. That's a tough one.
For batch optimizing PDFs before importing into Lightburn. That's not really part of my workflow. So I'm not sure. I would probably, if it was me and I was in a situation where I had to do something like that, I'd probably use AI. because AI reads PDFs and you can edit PDFs within Adobe Illustrator's tool set and save them again as PDFs if you prefer to do that for some reason. So if I was in that situation, I would probably use AI, but I only do that occasionally, and I certainly don't do it in large batches. So, Acrobat may have features built in for that. I know that there's a lot of web tools as well that you can kind of just upload a bunch of PDFs, do something to all of them, and then export them and re-download them. So that may be an option for you too.
Sono Biker is joining now.
Shogun, definitely look at their 60-watt MOPA. It's a good laser, and now that we have a clear dividing line between the E series and their C series offerings, and the price differences between the two has been made clear, I feel like you can make an informed buying decision on that. Either one is a great source. If you have the extra money, get the C series, but there's nothing wrong with the E series. It's still a 60-watt MOPA, and it still kicks ass. So, a lot of people saw my follow-up to that review and they were like, oh, well, I'm not buying this laser anymore. And I don't think that's the right call. I still really think it's a super solid laser, and there's nothing wrong with the E series at all. It's a very powerful laser. The pulse output power is still higher than the average non-MOPA laser by a lot. It's almost twice that of the LP series lasers. So like the JPT 30-watt or 50-watt LP lasers have a pulse output power of around 0.8 millijoules. And the E series 60-watt M7 has that of 1.5 millijoules. So it's almost double. It's almost twice as powerful on that max pulse output power. So you can still get plenty of use out of your MOPA features. You just get more with the C series, but that's not a reason to not buy the E series. I think it's fine.
Hey, we got a new member.
Hey, yo, thank you. Jack says GIMP opens PDF as well. So that's something to check out.
Jack says, I deal with a lot of stainless steel images. Is there any benefit to a higher wattage laser to speed production? These images typically run low speed, low power, low frequency. So it sounds like you're going for a black mark on stainless. If that's the case, you're probably not going to see too much of a benefit going higher wattage, because you still need to keep the power low so you're not ablating the surface, you're heating it, if that's the case, if I'm assuming correctly.
Shogun's asking, is San Antonio laser really worth the money, being they offer training, or will your Master Academy offer the same education? I don't know what they teach in their training. I've not received it, and people don't buy from them often enough that I've heard enough stories anecdotally to comment on it. But I can say that the Laser Master Academy. So let's get something clear about the LMA2. The LMA does have some bonus content, but it's mostly for fun or behind the scenes stuff or extra stuff. But the real core purpose of the Laser Master Academy is to allow us to continue producing the content that we give away for free on the channel. So you guys are financially supporting that free exchange of information, because we're really big about that. I don't like locking things behind paywalls. So I just want to get that out there. If you think that you're signing up for the LMA and you're going to get some like secret sauce that everybody else doesn't have access to, that's not really the case. You're more funding the education that we're making publicly available. Just want to clear that up. That said, I think that we provide everything you need to know about how to use, operate, and take advantage of all of the functions and features of just about any laser on the channel through one of our various courses. We have courses on EasyCAD 2 and Lightburn for Galvo, and we have developing courses for Lightburn for Gantry and EasyCAD 3. So we offer full coverage from start to finish, literally from taking it out of the box to advanced techniques for all of those different machines and software setups and combinations. And I think that will cover you. So honestly, so if you want us to continue being able to work on those projects and keep being able to make those courses available, signing up for the LMA is a really good idea, because it financially allows us to continue paying our employees, pay for web hosting, pay for all the other things that we pay for on a regular basis. in order to keep making this content at the high tier that we're producing it, with that high production value and consistency. So that's really the LMA's function. So just wanted to kind of clear that up a little bit. But yeah, I think we've got you covered, man. I would try to find a better deal. A lot of the resellers out here are kind of out to get you in the United States when you can buy U.S. stock from companies on Amazon like Sfx, or import your own from a company like Mactron or Wisely, far cheaper than buying from a dominant U.S. reseller. I think that's usually a waste of money.
Like Jack at the Shop says, I edit in GIMP and I use the Inkscape to copy to a vector. That's very confusing for me. So there's so many things out there, which might be good for you to explain that a little bit, because everybody's using all these different kind of things where I'm so used to Illustrator and then now Lightburn. So, everybody's using all these different, formats and stuff. Which is best and what is better? Or is it just a personal preference and they're all the same?
They're not all the same. The feature set on them is definitely different. Adobe Illustrator by far has the largest number of advanced features, but it's probably stuff you're not going to touch, Jimmy. So it really depends on who we are talking about and what software suite you need. We've demonstrated on the channel that Inkscape, Affinity Designer, and Adobe Illustrator are all capable of exporting files that can be used in both EasyCAD and Lightburn. And whether or not you want to create your designs and edit your designs in Lightburn or a dedicated software suite is completely up to the user. I find that there are some things that are easier to do in Lightburn once everything is done and I can just click and make small changes. But I also find that when I'm producing graphics from scratch, Adobe Illustrator is far easier to start from nothing and build out graphics. And then if I need to make small tweaks in Lightburn, it's great to have those tools available, but I don't use it as a full-time graphics editor. So, it's very much so, I think, dependent on the user. Really quick, Sammy, before Sammy gets buried here, I got my fiber laser up and running in Lightburn, but I never could get EasyCAD to work. So I have no core file in Lightburn and don't know how to get it to do lens correction like the video. So you don't actually need to set up EasyCAD, Sammy, in order to do your core file. You just need to run the core file software from inside the EasyCAD folder. The thing that you're probably missing is that you installed the Lightburn drivers for your EasyCAD card when you installed Lightburn. And once you do that, core file is not able to see your controller anymore. So what you need to do is uninstall those Lightburn drivers and install the EasyCAD drivers instead. Unfortunately, you have to switch back and forth between those two drivers to use those two software sets. So if you're doing anything in Lightburn with your fiber laser at all, you need to have the Lightburn drivers installed. And if you're doing anything in EasyCAD with EasyCAD at all, you need to have the EasyCAD drivers installed. We do have an episode on the Lightburn for Galvo crash course on how to switch back and forth between those drivers. I believe it's called hot swapping, is the name of the episode. So that would definitely be something that I would check out. Hopefully that solves your problem. If it doesn't, reach out to me on one of our various things and we can take a little bit of a closer look, but it should get you going.
I'm posting the link to that video.
Thank you.
J-Max here. What's up, buddy?
I've not been keeping an eye on chat here because I've been talking.
I'm trying. I'm catching up. Me too.
James Brewer's here. Hey, gang. Been a while. Hope everyone is doing good. We are rocking and rolling, man. We're all really busy doing the stuff that we do. We hope you're doing well as well. Sam, as a follow-up, my workflow is downloading the orders from an online creator in batches. Sometimes the PDF files imported into Lightburn as a solid black, but resaving it will fix it. So I would actually check out one of those online converters. So if resaving it fixes it, you can go, there's like you can just type PDF to TO PDF and literally just run it through one of those like online converters, and it'll upload them all and then download them all again as like fresh files, converting PDF to PDF, and then you can try importing them. And if that works, then whether or not it was going to import well to begin with, you just batch upload them and then batch download them again, having been resaved by the converter. And that may be the best option, actually. Jack says the trace bitmap tool is just one click away. It's totally true. And Inkscape is free. I have to say, Inkscape, I think, probably has the best tracing performance out of all of them. Illustrator included. I really like, if I did anything else in Inkscape, I would use it all the time, but I do most of my work in Adobe Illustrator. So
are you kidding me? So you're telling me what now?
Inkscape has the best trace function.
You never told me that before.
Well, you don't really need to know it because it's another piece of software and 30 more hours of my life that I'm going to have to.
You heard it here first, Jimmy.
Holy crap.
The way you do
He's
stuff,
killing me.
you don't even trace that much anyway. You send it all to Joy.
No, I don't. When I get something, I go automatically right to Illustrator.
Well, that's part of your problem then because you're not upscaling.
You're the one that told me that, you dummy.
You gotta upscale.
Oh, man. Upscale what? Oh, now you're killing me. You just confused me.
You bring it into Photoshop, image size. We've had this conversation.
I've done that before. That's all I do, yes.
Okay, good. So then you're not just bringing it right into Illustrator. You're upscaling
No, you bring it into Photoshop.
First.
You got to upgrade it to 600 DPI. And then you do the, what is it? Oh, the crap, isn't it?
Glad you made it through the storm, James, and hope everyone's doing well in Florida.
Yeah, have we heard about Matt? Is Matt alive?
Matt is alive.
I haven't heard nothing.
Okay.
He doesn't have power. He doesn't have power, but he's good.
All right, good. That's good. I know that that people are really struggling down there right now. So hopefully
Fort Myers got it really bad. Fort Myers got it really bad.
Yeah, dude. I saw freaking TikTok, man. There's just like the craziest shit.
There's a shark right in the middle, right at the end of some guy's driveway. I'm like, Jesus, really? Yeah, I thought it was fake. No, it ain't fake. It's right at the end of his driveway. I'm like, good God almighty.
Kyle, let the people know about this giveaway situation that I saw you brought up in chat.
Oh, yeah. So as you guys know, every lasered video also has a giveaway bundled into it. We're coming up on a month. We're just shy of a day away from being a month up on our first lasered episode that we premiered. And all the giveaways last for 30 days. So if you have watched the lasered episode, but you haven't signed up for the giveaway and you want a shot at winning each of the things, make sure you get in there and sign up or you'll lose your chance.
Can I join too?
No.
Damn. See? This crap.
If you join anyway and it pulls your name, I'm just going to draw again. So.
God, fire me.
Yep. You're not eligible according to the rules posted.
Boy, hey, if I can try, I'm going to try.
Nope.
Nate is asking, did Tony ever make his coin video? I've been failing miserably. I've tried both brass and aluminum. Each one comes out feeling like 220 grit sandpaper, feeling lost on these things. I've been wanting to tackle this topic, but I've been busy with other projects. Kyle, however,
I just did a coin the other night.
So Kyle may be able to help resolve some of those issues for you. Tony's moved on to other projects, so I don't think that we'll be getting that, but we're definitely going to try to cover that.
That's good.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to ask: is it like a low and slow thing? Gets it done better than like?
I mean, this wasn't necessarily slow per se, but I can't remember the settings I used. I shared the settings that I used right in the live stream I did.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go, if you get like maybe 20 or 30 minutes in after like the voting phase of what we were doing on the coin itself, because it was a viewer's choice stream.
Yeah.
I share the settings I used. That was an aluminum coin. So if you're working with aluminum, that will be more or less direct equivalent. My machine's a 60 watt M7 JPT laser source from Wisely, and I was using a 200 millimeter lens. So depending on what your laser and lens situation is, hopefully that gives you some level of indication.
in the spring when we have more time after Christmas, I would really like to go back, like just spend like 2 or 3 days, you and me, and go back through the live streams and timestamp them. I think that would really help people. I had a couple people leave some feedback on the LMA today because I asked people why they signed up for the LMA and if they'd been here for a while, why are they still here? And a couple people actually said that they, don't like the live streams, which is fine. They're not for everybody. But the main reason that they don't like the live streams is because they find that it's hard if they're not there live to go back and extract information from them. I think timestamps would really make a big difference.
Timestamps would make that much easier to
so maybe after
grasp info out of.
After the holidays, we can just like binge timestamp things for a few days. Because I know a lot of the live streams, they just kind of go up and that's that, So I think that might make a difference for them.
Another thing I could do, since the coins were brought up, I can do like a batch sample of all the different coins I've worked with, and I could do like a how I work with each type of coin video at some point in the future.
Yeah,
and like post processing or something.
Another suggestion we got too, people want us to more religiously upload our project files once we're done so that they can use the same files and try to follow along. And I can easily do that on the new downloads page on the Laser Everything website. So we have that project files page, which is up there now, guys. So if you ever want to go dig through that, go check it out. But yeah, it would be it would be easy for us to just grab those EZDs or Lightburn files and slap them together with the artwork and the raw images that we used, like that Top Gun logo unprocessed so that they can try to process it. But if they can't, like they have the next step so that we've got kind of files from each of just something that I want to try to pay more attention to when we're producing content.
Some of them are from design bundles too, but we could at least link to the page we got them from or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. We can link to that. And I think once we've made changes to those files, I think for educational use, it would be okay to drop on lasereverything.net too. Maybe not like the vector files, we can link to those, but then once we have them in our laser software and we've started making changes and, doing different cuts and layers and
reasonable enough amount of differences and such.
I think that's a-okay just for the sake of like learning, I think that would be a good educational use of that material. So that's something I'd really like to do. So we can think about that going forward. I'm just saying it out loud on the podcast so that people know that we're talking about it, because I do read your suggestions and I do take them to heart, and I do want to continue to improve our resources so that you guys can get more value out of them. So that's definitely something that I want to make sure that we tackle. I'm really far behind in chat still.
Christopher, what's up, buddy? Christopher's here.
Yeah, I know. I invited him on.
This is where we're at here.
I see that. I invited Chris on today, and he got home super late. You can still jump in if you want, Chris. I'll send you the link. Machine 27, my Galvo laser seems to change intensity across an image. One side will be lighter than the opposite side. Any suggestions? Yes, your Galvo head is probably not level to your bed. So a lot of people will level the machine, or a lot of people don't level anything at all. A lot of people will level the machine to ground, like they're building a house, which is not what you want to do. What you want to do is take a level, a precise level, and take a measurement of your bed, your workspace physically, and find out where that is. You don't have to level it, just make note of where the level is falling, and then move it up to your Galvo head and loosen the screws that are holding the Galvo head to the neck, and turn your Galvo head so that its leveling matches that of the workspace. They have to be parallel. And if they're not parallel and the Galvo head is tilted off to the side, that means that the laser is closer on this side, and then as it scans across, it becomes further from the Galvo head as it gets over to this side, because your Galvo head is slightly tilted left or right. It happens all the time, especially with shipping when those machines come from overseas. The other thing too. If it's left to right, it's easy because you can just turn the Galvo head left or right on the neck and problem solved. If it's forward and backwards, that's a little bit more difficult. Generally, you've got the Galvo head, and then you have the neck, and then you have the Galvo laser path. That's what that big box is behind the head. It's called the laser path. And there are 4 screws on the underside of the laser path. If you loosen those screws, you can shim the laser path underneath to tilt it forwards and backwards. So if you find that, you're in focus in the front, but you fall out of focus in the rear, you may want to try shimming that to level that out, along the y-axis there. So that's almost certainly your issue, though. It's a lot of people think it's dirty lenses. It's usually not dirty lenses. It's usually a leveling issue between the
especially
Galvo
if
head
it's a new machine
and the workspace. Yeah, especially if it's a new machine. So that's where I would start on that for sure. Indelible Engraving says, that's a cool name, Indelible Engraving. If you have used a camera with light burn on a Galvo fiber laser, I have, do you know if the camera calibration is specific to the overall software or specific to a machine profile? The camera calibration, to my knowledge, is specific to the device. So between devices, between lenses, etc., those calibrations should be being done from device to device, I think. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% positive on that. That would be a better question for Lightburn support, which you can, reach out in the Discord. They're usually active on there, or you can email them. I think it's support@lightburnsoftware.com. You'll get a response in a couple days just to double check, or search their support forum because I'm sure that question's been asked before. But that's my current understanding of it. I may be wrong, though. Everybody's LOLing, but it happened so far after now that I don't remember what we said. That was, it's Jimmy yelling at me.
It was, yeah.
I always yell at him. He always yells at me. We're good.
Here's a good one.
Shut up, Jimmy.
You got it.
Charles Hepburn says, do you know if there is a cheaper product than Brilliance that will get the same result? Brilliance Laser Inks is a chemical catalyst that you use to get black chemical marking on metals with lasers that can't traditionally mark them. So a great example is the CO2, right? You spray the Brilliance on a piece of steel or aluminum, you put it in the CO2 heats up the Brilliance, doesn't engrave the Brilliance, it heats it up to the point where a chemical reaction takes place and that Brilliance turns black and bonds to the surface. Just so that people know what that is.
Trouble with that. I still have trouble with that. So.
The answer to your question, Charles, if there's a cheaper product than Brilliance that will get the same result, is no. Not ready to go in a aerosolized can. Brilliance is the cheapest of the 3 that I know of. There's Ceramark, which is the most expensive one by a long shot. And then there's LBT, which is laser bond technology, I believe, or
something
laser bond technology, LBT. LBT is really good. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than Ceramark, but it's still more expensive than Brilliance Laser Inks, which is the cheapest option out of those 3. There are some like homebrew recipes that I don't know off the top of my head. Hacky ways.
Dry Molly Lube is one of them, but that's like a results may vary situation.
That's
and
like
also can be a
behind
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to clean up a mess afterwards, that's the way to go. The nice thing about Brilliance Laser Inks is you spray it on, you mark it, and you run it under some cool water, and it's off. It's gone.
I just bill the customers. I just bill the customers for the Brilliance.
I savor this can. I savor it.
Yeah. So, unfortunately,
try not to overspray. Just get it where you need it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Try not to overspray. Don't do multiple coats. It doesn't need multiple coats. I see when people use Brilliance, they spray it until it's like a thick, like paint coat. You don't need to do that. You literally just like a one pass over the, like I can, when it's done the right way, you can still almost see the shimmer of the metal underneath the spray. that is an appropriate coat. If you are like pasting it on so that it's thick and you can't see any of the metal through the spray that you just applied, you're wasting it. You don't need that much. It's just enough to where you can like almost barely, like, you think you see the metal underneath, but you're not sure. That's the right amount. You should be spraying it from like 6 to 12 inches away. So you want
that will also mess with your settings if you put too much on there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then
if you're not react the way it's intended.
Exactly.
Correct.
Because the catalyst needs to be touching the metal and heated in order for that reaction to take place. So if there's brilliance in the way of your brilliance, right?
Yeah.
Your top layer of brilliance is going to be, marked by the laser, and the bottom layer is going to wash away, taking the top layer of the brilliance with it. So too much, absolutely can interfere with your settings.
So that's what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing wrong.
Less is more.
Yeah, exactly.
Sammy says he did watch the video, had EasyCAD set up and installed. It showed in the device manager, but he said someone speculated it might have been because he had EasyCAD Lite.
Whether you have EasyCAD or EasyCAD Lite
it shouldn't affect. So as long as the driver is functioning with your board and you're launching core file, that it shouldn't matter what version of EasyCAD or the control board you have.
Yeah. And if
core file.
If core file is not launching, go download the EasyCAD CE from the downloads page at lasereverything.net/downloads, and try to use the core. That version of EasyCAD 2 comes with 4 different versions of core file. 4 different versions that you can try. There's core file 2, like enumerated, which is just a different version of core file 2, and then like a core file 2 light and like a core file 2 advanced. They all do the same thing. They all operate the exact same way, but some people on some machines for some reason can use some of them and not others. So we included all of them in that download. So go check that download out if you're still having problems and you can't launch core file. And core file, of course, your machine has to be on and plugged in as well, because it's just like you're launching EasyCAD. So if you don't have your machine on and plugged into the computer when launching core file is going to refuse to launch. You can't open that without the laser on like you can Lightburn. So make sure that you're doing that as well.
Yep. Nate said, great things. Listen to the entire thing while I was in the semi. I'll check it out again. He has a 50-watt cloud ray.
Which one was that?
He was asking about the coins with Tony. So if you have a 200 millimeter lens and you have a 50-watt a 50-watt fiber, basically you're just going to proportionately drop down the power by that percent. Mm-hmm. So 1/6, and it'll get you into the ballpark.
Not that I should be derailing the conversation again, but another thing that I saw was that people still want help with getting conversions done for their libraries. So another thing I would like to sit and do with you at some point, Kyle, and I'm just kind of saying this out loud during the podcast for posterity, but I would really like to just sit and just mass export library files for like a day.
Could do that.
Like literally like an 8-hour day.
Yeah, like every combo we can think of.
Every combo we can think of, and then just include them all. What's it going to end up being? Like a 10 megabyte download, with all those conversions. It's not going to be big.
It'll save some headaches in the long run.
It will, and I think most of the libraries are at the point where we're not going to be adding to them every day. So, at
least not the fiber one.
The biggest problem with pre-converting those libraries was that we were updating them all the time, especially the fiber one. In fact, I'm mostly talking about the fiber one right now. But to
be fair, that's the most used.
Yeah, but it's also the least updated now because we've added most of the things we want to add to it. So it's at a state now where we are not constantly updating it, which means I don't have to do 50 exports or 100 exports every single time we publish a new library. So I think we're there. I think we can just sit down one day, make sure that we've got everything in there we want in there, and then mass export just like a ton of different combos and date it and just throw it up, and then people that don't want to convert, don't know how to convert, can't figure out how to convert, there will be an
Non-issue.
option
Yeah.
for them at least, right? Even if it becomes like deprecated after a while, we can still include it, and it's just, this one's a little out of date, but you don't have to convert it. And I think that would be we could do that like once a year or something, and like try to help those people.
Chris says, damn, look at that merch.
Dude, Chris must be watching in the past. I think he started at the beginning. I don't think he scrolled all the way up to live.
Jimmy's got the hat. You got the hat and the shirt, and I got.
Oh, he's talking about the stuff we're actually wearing right now.
Repping. We're repping.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
supposed to tell me what merch you want, dude, so I can send you some merch, some funky dunky merch. Love's here.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. We're both trying to do it at the same time. I should just let you do it. I should stop touching. Love says, hi, Love. Good to see you. I presently have the Glowforge Pro, but have a Mirror 7 due in November. Congratulations. That is a big, significant upgrade. What do you recommend I use for a program? Lightburn? I presently use Silhouette Business Edition with my Mac. I don't even think that will work.
No,
Lightburn.
Lightburn.
Just use Lightburn.
Your Mirror 7 comes with a Ruida controller, so you have two options for software. RDWorks, don't do RDWorks, and Lightburn.
I don't even think she can do that on her Mac, can she?
RDWorks is RDWorks Windows only.
To be determined.
TBD,
Use Lightburn anyway.
Use Lightburn anyway. It's irrelevant because RDWorks is rough around the edges. It's not easy CAD rough, but it's rough. So Lightburn's the way to go for that.
It's a functional base software, but it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Jack says his Galvo head was not straight or level.
I guess they knew who they were sending it to. Yeah, definitely something you guys want to be checking. We should probably have an episode on that. We cover it very briefly in the episode where we swap the Galvo head on the CO2 Galvo. But that's the only time that I bring it up, and it probably deserves its own episode. So we'll add that to the list.
Snaf says, I always used EasyCAD 2, switched to Lightburn, and it has been a joy compared to EasyCAD 2. We are all with you on that one.
Hell yeah.
The Louisiana hobby guy himself, Mr. Rich. Q&As are wonderful content. If they help you, throw them a tip. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you so much, Rich. Great to have you by. Always nice to see that smiling face pop up in live chat. I love it, man. Thank you.
And Love says, don't forget to smash the like button.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Smash that like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. Bring those viewers in, especially while we're live. Hitting that like button while we're live tells Google that more people should be watching it. So definitely, if you have a moment, please smash the like button.
Mike says, hey, guys. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Robert says, I had a weird experience. I had a 74 by 74 work area lens. I was down by deep engraving on 1/8-inch stainless steel. The letters were all within the field to engrave. But on the left side, it was more aggressive than on the right. Any ideas? So same thing we mentioned before, or more so Alex mentioned before, where it's entirely possible that your fiber head is not parallel to your work area. Mm-hmm. And we say level, but it's not like true level. It's level to the same degree that your work bed is for your head.
So make sure they're parallel. You don't want, you don't want them like, this or this or this. You want them parallel. So make sure if they're off, if they're not level with ground, make sure they're both not level with the ground by the same amount.
It's not circle track racing. You don't want the left side of your car to be like 6 inches lower than your right. So
that's true.
Flat to each other.
Flat.
And Snap says, Robert, did you clean your optics? That's another thing to check. But honestly, if it's a new-ish laser, in all likelihood, if you haven't checked if they're out of level with each other. We
get this question a lot. And it's 99.999% of the time it's a leveling issue, not a lens issue.
And he does say later on if it's level and clean. The only other thing. If
it's level and clean, the next things that I would check are probably the Galvo mirrors, which you can look at by framing something and taking the lens off completely, and like actually looking at those mirrors. Framing, not marking, framing. Wear your glasses anyway. safety glasses anyway, but you can see the mirrors moving and see if they're moving in time or not just by lighting up like a little circle or something. And usually it's pretty visually obvious if there's an issue with them. It's going to be a big apparent issue. You're not hunting for small details on that. And the other thing, which I would probably do first, is check your Galvo head power supply. Typically 15 volts. You can use any multimeter, and we have a full episode on power supply testing on the main channel. So you guys will want to check that out too. We've seen a lot of freakish issues with Galvo heads lately that turn out to be the 15 volt power supply powering them. The second you put a load on that power supply, the power just takes a dump. Your voltage just takes a dump, and it causes some funky, weird errors.
For some people, it's like a minute or two into engraving after the caps heat up.
Yeah.
The voltage starts to dip. That then you start getting crazy lines in your engraving. That's another thing that happens too.
Yeah. So. I'm gonna see if Jimmy's sound issue is over.
Okay.
Say something, Jimmy.
I'm good.
All right. You weren't.
Okay. You weren't good.
We had to mute you.
The compressor kicked down.
Oh, it was loud, dude.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This mic picks it up, though.
I'm sorry. I'm like, holy crap. Can you hear that? Because before
Love says, such a great stream with the coin. It sure is special. Thank you, Love.
That was a good stream, man. A lot of great questions, appropriate tangents that led to good learning.
Snap says, swapping between EasyCAD 2 and Lightburn. Keep restore points for both. Swap between them. Yes. One thing I recommend to everyone that asks about getting set up, keep a copy of this, like the software or the setups that you're using, completely separate from your computer. Just upload them to Google Drive, throw them in a zip folder, something.
Dropbox, anything.
Yeah, and just have a physical copy somewhere separate from your computer. So if you get a virus, something happens to your computer, the drive dies, whatever, you have another copy and you can get up and running quickly.
I mean, on Lightburn too, you can export your libraries and device profiles. So you can actually, you don't even need to like hunt for weird installation folders on Lightburn. You can literally just export all of that data. Almost every menu in Lightburn has an export menu that you can click.
Your libraries are already separate files, so you can just copy wherever. Keep all of your libraries and everything in one spot and copy everything into a zip folder and slap it on a flash drive or something.
Absolutely. Jack says, I clean the mirrors on my CO2. Does anyone clean the mirrors on the Galvo? No. You really should not be doing that ever.
It shouldn't really be collecting any dust or anything because it's sealed as long as your lens is there.
It should be sealed as long as your lens is there. And
don't leave it stored without a lens on it.
If you handle the mirrors just a little bit too roughly when you're trying to clean them with like a Q-tip and the touch of a fairy, okay, and you push just a little too hard, you're gonna set them off of like their little set position, their little set rest position, and then they just are off. That's it. You can't get them set back. It's very, very sensitive equipment in there. You really should not be touching them under any circumstances. If you're really concerned about them being dirty, you can always use like an air compressor and blow some air out. Don't use canned compressed air, because the bitterants and like solvents that they use in that will leave a residue on the mirrors. So do not use canned compressed air. Use a compressor of some sort. We have actually it's not on the buying guide, but it's the DataVac is what it's called. Great, just infinite compressed air specifically designed for cleaning things. If you're going to do anything, do that. Keep solvents, keep chemical cleaners, literally
any kind of liquid,
just all that. Just don't touch them. Just don't touch anything inside the Galvo head. You should really leave it alone. And your lenses should be on your laser all the time because they're protecting those mirrors. Swapping a lens that has been busted, damaged, scratched, made permanently dirty somehow is a $70 investment. And replacing your Galvo head is $300 to $400 to $500. So
Or if you're one of the sad souls who has a 3D laser head, it's more.
Then you're effed. Yeah. I've had the same lenses just sitting on my fiber laser without a lens cap or anything. The lenses aren't as sensitive as everybody makes them out to be. They're pretty chunky boys.
Hardy.
It's like hardy, thick, like, glass. So I've had them just sitting out without a lens cap for years now. They've just been sitting there and they work fine and don't have a speck of dust or scratch on them anywhere. So sacrifice the lens before sacrificing the Galvo to like try to protect the lens. The lens isn't worth protecting. It's the Galvo head and its internal components that you want to protect.
Yep. Chris says he's live. Give me that funky donkey. I don't know if that means he wants in or not.
I don't know if that. I'll send him the invite code just in case. I'm live. It'd be nice to catch up with Chris. He just sent me a huge list of Laser Everything merch that he wants. Oh, dude, I forgot. I uploaded that Mactron shirt to the shop. I have to place another merch order now. Dude, have you seen? I showed you the Splatter Mactron shirt, right?
Yeah,
dude, it's pretty. It's so sick. Yeah, it's really cool.
He said goodnight, so I don't know if he's still around.
Did he say goodnight? He said, give me that funky donkey.
Yeah, and he said goodnight.
Greg says, appreciate your work, gang. LMA has me jogging and I'm learning more all the time. Thanks, man.
Dope. Love to hear it. It's our favorite thing to hear.
It would have to be massively unlevel to make a difference, though. It doesn't have to be. A couple of degrees can make an enormous difference, because when you're articulating versus a flat plane like this, you're going to have infinitely more space here versus the angle that you're rotating.
Yeah. And
it makes a big difference.
The lens that you're using too makes a massive difference. If you're on a 300 millimeter lens and that's all you've ever used, you might not notice a degree or two. But if you're on a 70 or a 110, it could make all the difference in the world.
Even a 150, I mean, or whatever. With my UV, I only have a focal range of like 1 to 1.5 millimeters. So if I'm cockeyed by a half a degree, the edges of my workspace are absolutely going to be entirely different from each other.
More absorbent material too. Yeah, you're far less likely to notice on something than aluminum, than something like copper, right? Where your reflectivity rate is way higher. But hey, guys, look, we snagged a big fish here.
Chris,
hello.
Hey, man, what's going on?
What's up?
How's
life
treating you?
Busy. It's a busy week.
You doing some more Rotary tonight?
Maybe. I got home pretty late, and I don't really have anything fun to engrave in mind. But
we could knock out that timing, dude.
We could.
Chris's timing needs attention on his EM Smart. But we spent like 4 hours last night nailing down a powder coat removal setting for him to use with his Rotary, which is cool. We haven't really gotten into project mark cylinder correction stuff yet, but it's clean, dude. It's that. You got that bottle around, dude?
Yeah, I mean, you're on my phone because I wasn't prepared for this, but yeah,
it's all right. It came out.
While you're walking, I'll pull up another.
Yeah, let's see another one.
Hi, new here. What is a perfect laser for a jeweler? Well, first off, welcome. Perfect laser for a jeweler it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, material, big time, is a big material question.
If you're just doing rings, like on a Rotary, you could probably get away with a 30 watt and a 70 millimeter lens. Kind of just depends. If you're going to be cutting silver and gold, you're probably going to want a 50 or a 60 watt.
Copper too, big time.
I didn't even think about copper, but yeah, if you do anything with copper, you're going to want a little bit more power, especially if you're trying to cut it or do anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
He says for cutting nameplates and engraving jewelry. So,
dude, yeah, 60-watt M7 for sure. You get that high power, high pulse output power while you're at higher frequencies for cutting, and it's going to go a lot faster. It'll be a lot more economical with something like that. That kind of setup.
If you want some reliable, brands to check out, do some pricing, see what works, for you in terms of your budget. Check out our buying guide. Go down in the description, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple options there, and they even have a couple of different models. So it just kind of depends on what you need.
Yeah. Any luck, Chris?
Yeah. It's right here.
Oh yeah, nice.
Just the many pumpkins that we worked through. But
you can see the shimmer of the steel, though. It's not, we can't see the grain, obviously, but I can see the shimmer. We
definitely went from engraving it completely to, like a nice just removal of the paint.
Just removing that paint. Yeah, for sure. That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, Chris bidded on a Yeti, his first Yeti. And luckily it was for like a good friend of his, so he didn't have to replace it. Chris said he was really nice about it, but we all bite the first Yeti. So
I mean, I was doing it without the rotary tool, and I didn't use the surface curvature adjustment that Lightburn has in it.
He was projecting without using cylinder correction,
but I mean, I wasn't trying to engrave anything too wide. So I mean, you saw my Overwatch engraving that was on the cup, and that was done.
Yeah, and that looked great.
That was also done without it. So I mean, it definitely didn't warp too much, but I definitely could have done a better job for sure.
I mean, all of us every day. It's all good, man. It was a good effort, and we spent some time and knocked it out yesterday. I was stoked about it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went around today and I was like, anybody got any cups they want anything on? Because I got the rotary set up and I don't want to take it apart without doing anything else.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Cool. Did we have another one there, Kyle?
Yep. Luke says, hi guys, just curious what the best laser is to cut 1/2 inch to 1 inch EVA foam, and if a good diode laser would work. Thanks.
I haven't tried diode for EVA, but CO2 makes quick work of it, and it cuts nice. Yeah. Cuts nice on a CO2.
Yep. If you have a longer focal length lens too, like a 3 or 4 inch, it'll make it an even flatter cut if you're going for the deep stuff. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of falls apart.
You got to go fast.
Cuts right away. Yeah. It's going to be stinky.
Yeah.
But it's a relatively safe, thing to cut as long as you have some level of fume extraction.
We'll try some hockey pucks.
Yeah, I've not tried the hockey pucks yet. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Chris just told me he was bailing, but appreciate you stopping in to say hey, man.
I imagine a diode would be okay. I wouldn't be able to say for sure because again, we haven't tried it, but based off of how similar diode and CO2 are, I'd imagine you'd be
I don't know
able to get something.
I don't know how maybe
like a long focus one.
They're similar with like how they interact with organics, but they're fairly far apart like wavelength wise. So it would be interesting. It'd be an experiment.
I wouldn't try it with a short focus one because honestly, the beam is going to diverge so much.
Yeah,
because it comes out like an hourglass shape, like we were explaining before. So a long focus has a really tight X shape, right? Mm-hmm. So you get that long stretch where it's in focus. The shorter the focus you get, the smaller of a dot you're going to get, but the quicker it's going to come out of focus, and you're going to end up with crazy melting, and it's going to be a mess. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't try it without having a long focus module on it. Yeah. JMax says bedtime. Night, guys. Night, JMac.
See ya.
Chris says night. Snaf donated $10. Says keep up the good job, guys. Thanks, Snaf.
Will do, Snaf. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it.
R. Nelson says, does anyone laser engrave challenge coins? I've tried a couple, and just time-wise, it doesn't seem cost-effective. I did one, what was it, last week? I did a Top Gun coin. You can make them worth your time. It just depends on what you're doing and how you want to do it.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on last week's podcast Q&A too. You know, you gotta charge for it. Where you gotta make some compromises, whether that's depth or finish or, you know, fit or whatever. It's definitely certainly on the more challenging end of things to make profitable, right? But
so if it's depth, is depth the more depth, the less better finish you're gonna get, or is that
they're not together? Yeah,
it's the speed that you acquire that depth. You can go really deep, really fast with a powerful laser, but it's going to be covered in slag and it's going to have rough, hard edges. If you take 4, 5, 6 times longer to achieve that same depth with a lower power and a higher speed, you will get a cleaner finish when it's done.
So can you zap it really hard, fast with 5 passes and then back her down and then level everything off? Or
that's up for debate. You gotta kind of
testing.
Yeah, testing, man.
The other thing you can do is you can do the bulk of the work on the laser, and instead of doing the finishing work on the laser, like some people say they want to polish stuff on the laser, which is technically not possible by definition, but conversation for another time. You can do the finishing work, for example, in a like a rotary tumbler with polishing media.
Oh,
whatever.
Dude, I want a tumbler so bad. I want one.
That's what I was gonna talk to you about for that coin episode we do in like a couple of months or whatever.
I really want one.
Yeah. Anyways, so there are ways to make it more time effective, and a polishing tumbler like that would be a way of removing the manual labor of lasering it and save you time, because you can throw it in the tumbler and walk away, because that's not something you have to babysit.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a couple hours. You can throw it in, set a timer on it, and
Jimmy, it's basically just a big washing machine you fill with fucking rocks. Wow. And then the rocks hit the thing over and over and over again. Yeah, rocks.
My buddy does a lot with brass for his shell casings.
Yeah, it works great on softer metals too. You'll have more difficulty with
brass coins.
Things like titanium are going to put up a little bit more of a fight, and you need more expensive media for that. But it's a great general use thing. Steel, aluminum, brass, copper are all going to do great with a tumbler. And that's what I'm going to do after the podcast tonight. I think I'm going to go on Amazon and buy a tumbler. Probably shouldn't, but that's where we're at.
That's on one of my shopping lists too.
Yeah.
Snap says, question for you guys on rotary engraving. I tried engraving a ring. It essentially reflected off. Couldn't find a good angle for it to engrave. You want the shallowest angle you can, especially if you're engraving the inside of the ring. You obviously need some angle to get it to hit the inside of the ring, but if you have it cocked way sideways, it's going to not want to take
skirt by. So the way we do it in the ring rotary video is I'll actually start with a red box the width of the ring, like the height of the ring, I suppose, if you were to lay it flat on a table. I start with a red box that tall, and then I light the box and I just tilt the ring until I can see the entire box on the inside. The second that top edge of the box becomes visible and is no longer clipping that top edge, that's the maximum angle of rotation that I do. If you are still finding that it's like defocusing halfway down it or something like that, it may be time to try either a larger lens or a smaller lens. A larger lens, if you're doing a highly reflective material, and it's just you're not getting the power density needed to mark the inside of the ring, or a smaller lens if you needed more power density because you're reflecting, or a larger lens If still, even though you've rotated the ring to the bare minimum angle to see that red box and you're not getting a mark, it may be because your depth of field is just not sufficient. In which case you would want a slightly larger lens. Try the next size up. If you're on a 110, move to a 150 and see if that added depth of field will help you. But that said, for the most part, even on the smallest lenses, depth of field should generally not be an issue because it's such a, I mean, that angle, the depth that adds is so minimal. I could only really imagine that that's an issue for people on UV lasers or if you're using like a 70 millimeter lens. Even the 110, which I use regularly to mark the inside of rings, performs well in that aspect. So it might be a material issue.
If you're trying to do like something like copper where it's just it's so resilient to being laser engraved, and you have something like a 30 watt, try going down to like a 70 millimeter lens or something. Like you just need more power density and you're gonna have to pound it.
Slow that speed down, tighten that line distance way up.
Love sent in $9.99. Thank you, Love. Appreciate you. Joven says, let's see that tumbler.
Oh yeah, he showed it. It looked good.
Luke also sent in $10.
Damn, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
He asked the EVA question again, but then said something like a Niji 3 Max, for example. I like diode for large working area. I actually have a Niji Max that I need to review. So
yeah, that exact machine.
Maybe I can get my hands on like a small piece of EVA. I don't have
like
any.
1/8 inch.
Something. I could even stack it to see what like a 1 inch would be like or something. But
yeah,
I'll see what I can find.
It's gonna go well.
that's the next diode coming up for review after the one that I'm working on editing.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
So I'll see what I can find. Stay tuned. We'll see. No promises though. Snaf says an ammo casing tumbler would be a small investment.
True story.
Yes, it is.
Jack says rock tumbler.
Yeah, he says you have a rotary. Build a rock tumbler. Like use the rotary tool to actually. Yeah, that's a bit much. I think I'll probably just buy one. But it's that would be an interesting video.
Yeah, it would.
Somebody do that.
Snaf says he was using a Rakis 30 watt at about 25 frequency 150 lens. So a 30 watt is going to have a hard time with copper, and a 150 lens might be a little big for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can just from experience, I can tell you already that that combo is not going to be effective for copper. So a 110 at the minimum, and even my 110 with 30 watts struggled with copper. I did it. We got away with it, but it struggled. The other thing, I'm not sure if you are doing this or not, Snaf, but tighten up your line distance. 0.002 to 0.005 millimeters on your line distance, which gives that laser lots of time in one area before moving on to really get it hot to aid in that ablation. It makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, that's a whole decimal place smaller than what you would work with on like stainless steel, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%.
And that basically gets us to the front of the line here, which is good because we just hit 1 hour. We literally just hit 1 hour. Unless you guys have anything you want to throw me at the last minute, I will wait 1 minute before I do the outro. People always wait until I open my mouth to do the outro before they want to like throw their last second questions out. So I'm just going to wait a minute. We'll see if you guys have anything you want to throw down right.
We don't want to leave anybody hanging.
I don't like leaving people hanging. But we are at an hour, so we're getting real close here. I like this little Q&As have been working out. These are fun.
Lots of good questions too.
Lots of good questions.
Good questions.
I was a little nervous when we did the last one by accident, when we didn't mean to do a Q&A, but we did. Last week's episode was really good, guys. Last Thursday's episode, you should go listen to it if you haven't already. But I was a little nervous that it wouldn't, like, the experience wouldn't be as good on headphones, like when you're just listening to the audio. But I was listening to it in the car. I had a really long drive to do, and I'm always looking for like flaws and things to like change from episode to episode. And I loved it. I thought it was a great episode to listen to on the audio podcast, not just on YouTube. So I was really happy with that too. Miranda says Nugget is very ready for you to be done. That's it, guys. The call of the wild. I need to go downstairs and get my my psycho daughter and relieve my wife, because it is very definitely bedtime for that little Nugget girl. I got her a Burn to Learn onesie. I'll throw it up next time. But
they're so adorable,
dude. It's so cute.
You didn't put it on her yet?
No, dude. I had to shrink it in the wash first because it came in like a freaking medium boy's t-shirt.
Kind of like that. Kind of like that. What do you call it? The hat I had is too thick. It's too big.
No, that hat is too small, and you're crazy, and that's an argument for another time. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Laser Source podcast. Kyle, Jimmy, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate you having you guys around, and special thanks to Chris for popping in momentarily to show off that beautiful mane and his gorgeous tumbler.
Celebrity appearance.
We love you, bro. And LA Hobby Guy, great stream, more Q&As. You got it, dude. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for the additional super chat there. Always makes a difference, makes us feel appreciated and loved. So we appreciate you, man. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the Laser Source podcast. If you guys got value out of this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content was good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified the next time we upload a new episode of the podcast. If you're listening to this and you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. That 5-star review goes a long way in making sure that Apple thinks that our content is valuable to show to their listeners. So just takes a couple seconds. Just click the little star and say, we love lasers. In fact, rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts right now and tell me whether or not in the review, you don't even need to write a review. Just tell me whether or not you think Diode will cut EVA foam well. That's what I want you to write in the review box. Write whether or not you think a Diode will cut EVA foam well with your 5-star rating. And that's it, guys. That's all we've got. Links to everything down below. We got a brand new buying guide, brand new downloads page, brand new merch shop, lots of new merch, blah, 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 blah. You hear me say it all the time. If you want to support the channel, head over to masters.lasereverything.net to find out how. It's the #1 way to support the channel. And thank you to everybody who was here live for this recording. As usual, we're going to take it down, give it a quick edit, cut out Jimmy's coughing and compressor sounds. He's mad. He's muted, but he doesn't know it. And we'll re-upload it. I'll have it back up for you really soon. I still need to upload Marco's episode as well, which I have not gotten to yet because we're very close to being done. We're very close to being done with the Light Object Facility Tour. That'll be going up Friday at noon. So mark it on your calendars. Friday at noon, Light Object Tour. Gonna be dope. That's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, hanging out. We love you all. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Night.
See you in the next one.